Hi guys, so here we have another one of my long nails that I do for my hairdresser friend. So I've done the usual, I've removed her previous set, I've then applied the xoxo vamp tips and filed in, blended, I've done all my natural nail work prep, and then I've dehydrated, and now I'm just coming in with a little bit of my acid primer. A little note on my nails, yes, I'm sorry, one of the gems has fallen off. This happened literally within 2 seconds of I was on a live feed and people say, oh, how do you keep your big gems on? And I was like, oh, I never really have a problem. And within like half an hour, like 2 of them had come off. And my nails were due to be done the next day, so I couldn't be bothered to stick a new one on. So there's a little disclaimer for my poor battered nails. So what I'm doing first of all is I'm just placing a layer of thin clear acrylic. As a base on the nail, and then I'm coming in with black diamonds, and I'm creating that as the bottom half of my ombre, making sure I'm keeping it nice and thin, so almost just painting it on and blending it up and down the nail. And then coming in with lobster, I'm pretty sure it's lobster. I struggled with this one. I used exactly the same consistency I normally do. I put it on the nail, and within about 2 seconds of going on the nail, it then just kind of went bleh, and like blobbed all over the place. So I do apologise. Another little disclaimer in this video that I did, I need to have more of a play with this colour. Just looking in my drawer. No, it's Dragonfruit, not lobster, it's Dragonfruit. Yeah, I found it a bit wet to work with, really. You'd kind of put it on the nail, and then as I said, it just kind of ran crazily. So I do apologise, there's a bit of correction around the cuticle work in this video as it's trying to escape from me. And then I'm capping that ombre in crystal glass. And then I'm moving on to the next nail. And starting off with my clear base. And then remembering that I wanted to do a geometric design, and then putting clear bases on the other nails. I'm then going to do a full glitter nail on this one, and this was using Blood Potion from the Stacie Richardson collection. So using small beads of clear acrylic to pick up that glitter, place on the nail, and then kind of nudge around. So I tried to do little beads, little at a time. It's another perk of using these tips is because they're pre-pinched, so I don't need to worry about getting my pinch or anything, so I can take as long as I like on the design side. And then just making sure you're patting it nice and flat, so there's nothing sticking up. Okay, so now that base is clear, I'm then going to come in with my first colour, because I'm doing some like geometric kind of colour blocking. So I've taken most of the liquid out the back of the bead, made it really dry, and as I said, I then placed it on the nail and it just kind of went bleh. So I don't know how freakishly dry I have to work with this. I'm going to have a little play, but what I'm trying to do is create the normal shape and structure, but I'm going to be doing it in sections because I'm going to be cutting it off and doing like bars of colour along the nail. So I'm just going to let that set a little bit, and I'm going to cap that glitter nail in crystal glass. So normally with geometric you'd start that nail first. I started the set and I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do, and then halfway through I was like, I know. So that's why the geometric wasn't done first, because normally you'd start, especially if you're doing like lots of chunks, you'd kind of go back and forth to the geometric now. So now that nail is nicely capped, making sure all that glitter has gone matte, so I know it's all encapsulated. I'm then getting my little dental floss, and I've popped it in my clear acrylic to make sure it's not going to stick to that coloured acrylic, and then I'm slicing into that half set acrylic. And just filing and buffing off just that little bit of excess, just because I'm going to keep layering up and I didn't want it to get too bulky. As I said, there's a little more practice to be done with this red acrylic. I do really like it, so I always say that it's most likely me not having a play with a new acrylic rather than the acrylic being a problem. So I'll just have another little play with that and hopefully do a video again in the next few weeks showing how to use it properly. Doing the exact same thing but with the black diamonds. So butting up against that line, not worrying if I go over, because when I file it later, I'm going to be filing through that and revealing these crisp lines. I let that set for a little bit and then I came in again with my dental floss and just cut a straight line. And now I'm going to put just a clear base because I'm going to have a little glitter panel in there. And then I'm placing that glitter. And just do a full glitter now. So I did chase it down there a little bit, really keeping an eye on my sidewalls there. If you use a new product and you're finding it's a little too wet, try and take out as much liquid as you can. Just always keep an eye on those cuticles so you're not flooding it and you're getting in with your brush and keeping that nice crisp line. Then capping this glitter, so getting a nice dry bead of clear and capping it with the top. And you want to try and stop yourself getting too bulky. So sometimes when you do geometric, you'll do so my second line, so that black was a little thick. So I don't feel the need to, you don't have to go over each line. And I don't feel the need to follow the shape of that. So the clear might look a little shallower, but it's just because I don't want to make it bulkier and bulkier and bulkier. And because I'm working on tips, as you can see, my little finger underneath there was underneath, offering support to that tip, because there's nothing worse. I mean, this is why I don't file tips into shape on my ladies, because if you put a tip on and then start filing it, or I don't know about the rest of you, but that turns my stomach. Like if I put a tip on my nail and started filing it or putting any pressure, well, it makes me feel sick. Just even talking about it, it's making me feel a bit ugh. So do you think about that, like when you're working on your client, any pressure you put on that tip is going to be quite, it's not going to hurt, but it can be quite an unpleasant feeling on the natural nails. So always make sure when you're working with, especially like longer nails like this as well, always make sure there's some support underneath that tip. So I've come in with that second black. And look, a thumb guys. See, I do them occasionally. And this one's going to be full glitter. So again, coming in with that blood potion glitter in small beads. Tapping in and then just push it around. Just keeping an eye on that other acrylic. I try to, because I've got a geometric now and I'm going to be doing a little bit of one stroke, I didn't want the other nails to be too much going on with them, so that's why I just kept a few glitter nails and like an ombre, because if you have too much going on with the nails they can look a bit too busy. That's just my personal opinion, but I try not, I try to have one or two feature nails rather than like everything kind of like screaming out at you, but it depends what your personal preference is. That's just mine. And then I'm coming in with that final bit of red. As you can see, I just put it on, it's like bleh. I really do need to have a play with this. So it's on my list to play with Dragonfruit and figure it out. And then share with you guys. So I obviously capped that thumb, filed it all in, and now I'm going to do some one stroke. Now, 2 days ago, I actually went on a one stroke course with Hazel Dixon to update my one stroke. And this video was taken before that course. So my one stroke is slightly better now. I struggle with my one stroke. I'm not really going to explain much of what I'm doing because it's something I'm still working on myself. Sorry that my thumb keeps coming into shot. I'm trying to work on angles, but this is just to give you an idea. So I use an angled brush because I find that easier to use. Some people use straight, it's personal preference, and I'm just blending the two colours. So I put the lighter colour on the outside, the darker colour on the inside, and then I just blend on the back of my hand. And the warmth from the back of your hand helps keep the paints nice and pliable and blend well. And then I kind of do a bit of a wiggly glide with my brush. And I always do a double layer so that the paint looks, so after one layer it looks quite nice, but then when you put the second layer of paint on, it just makes it pop a bit more. One stroke is one of those things, like people ask me to do videos occasionally. I don't think my one stroke's that good. It's alright, but it's got a lot of improvements to make. I also think one stroke is one of those things that you definitely need to learn face to face. It's very difficult to show over video, and for you to fully understand like the blending and everything. So I would highly recommend, if you want to learn one stroke, to find someone in your local area who teaches it, but not only teaches it, have a look at the quality of their work they're putting out. So make sure that it's someone that you want to learn from. So look at their quality of one stroke and then go, yep, that's what I want to be able to do, kind of thing. And then coming in with a detailer and just adding a few little bits of detail just to define some of those petals. And in this video I'm using quite a long thin brush, which I was having a bit of a play with, but I do prefer a shorter brush with a bit more of a barrel that you can get a bit more of the paint in there. And then I'm just going to use my dotting tool just to add a few little like lacy, beady, dotty things on there. And then you always want to make sure that you give that plenty of time to dry, because there's nothing worse than finishing your one stroke, going to top coat it, and smudging the bugger. So I'm putting that one layer on. I'm then going to cure that for 30 seconds in my LED light, and then I'm going to come back and then put the second coat on and curing for 60 seconds. And at this point, I'm going to then top coat all the other nails too. And the filing of geometric, somebody asked why I didn't show filing of a geometric design the other day. It's exactly the same as any other filing, same as your smile lines, things like that. Just as you file, if you've created the correct structure, those lines will come through nice and crisp and sharp. And then I'm giving that a minute or two just to cool down, and then I'm popping a bit of cuticle oil on. So there you go guys, I hope you've enjoyed. Any questions, comments or requests, just pop them below. Thanks for tuning in, bye!